everyone. Today we're talking a little bit more about demand. And yes, it is a little tedious. We are running over some of those basic terms that we're going to be using later on. But once we get all these under our belt, then we can get into the good stuff and start talking about things like curves. Everyone loves curves, right? No, we're talking about demand curves. But yes, they're just as fun. So today we're going to go over 3 basic things that drive demand. They are price, income, and tastes. So prices obviously affect how much someone is likely to buy something, because if they only have a certain amount of money and the price of certain goods is out of reach for them, then they're not going to buy them. So we say that the cheaper something is, the more likely people are to buy them, and the more expensive something is, the less likely people are to buy them. But it does get a little bit more complicated than that, and we'll look at that some more later. The next contributing factor to demand is income. Obviously, as our income goes up, then we tend to buy more goods and we tend to buy better quality goods. So not only are we able to buy things that are more expensive and more of them, but we also tend to change our preferences as well as our income goes up. And that's seen with obviously people buying better quality of products or more reputable or well-known brands, etc., etc. The third thing that affects demand is taste. That comes down to individual likes and dislikes. If we are particularly fond of a certain product, then even if it's a larger portion of our income, we may be more driven to purchase it, even if it kind of stings, if it's a quite expensive purchase, but it's just something that we really want. And that's things like girls saving up to buy expensive handbags, or people forking over a good deal of their paycheck to get the latest phone. So preferences definitely have a very strong bearing on demand as well. Now let's take a look at 2 different types of goods. In economics, we like to give everything labels, and that just gives us a better handle on what's going on and how to describe it. It helps to shape our expression around what's going on in the market. So 2 types of goods that we are discussing today are complementary goods and substitute goods. No, it's not condiments and supplements. It's complementary goods and substitute goods. So what are these? Complementary goods are kinds of goods that tend to go together. For example, when you buy pasta, you might also buy some pasta sauce. And if you buy cheese, you might also buy crackers. If you buy bread, you might also buy Marmite or Vegemite, or if you're a hater, then you might just buy jam and go, ugh, don't give me any Marmite or Vegemite, that stuff's gross. Save that for the Brits and the Aussies. So that's what complementary goods are. And substitute goods are goods that tends to be the case where one good is just as good as the other. So, for example, if you buy curly pasta or if you buy elbows, they're kind of the same thing, and they might even be a similar price. So one could be substituted for the other. Another example is, say, soap that comes in a bar, or soap that comes as a liquid that you pump out of a hand soap gel or gel body wash, those kinds of things, as opposed to the bar form. They're quite similar, so if you buy one, you might not need the other, and so on and so on. Now, in every video, I'm going to be sharing some personal finance tips. This advice is not anything official, and no liability is claimed for giving it out. These are just a few basic tips that are things we should already know as adults, and most of us do. But sometimes it's helpful to come across a reminder here and there to give us a kick in the pants and help us get back on track and start doing what we're meant to do. So my first tip for today is live within your means. It's so much easier said than done when we tend to compare ourselves with the neighbors or with our friends who might also not be living within their means. So then we tend to try and keep up with them, and we'll be looking at what they're wearing, what car they're driving, instead of thinking about where we are, and if we want those things that we can't afford now, how can we get to a position where we can afford them first before we go and take out a lot of debt to pretend that we are better off than we are. So that's the first tip. The second tip is probably the only good piece of advice, my personal opinion, from The Barefoot Investor. When I read that book, I felt that a lot of the things in there didn't apply to me personally, but the one thing that I really did like from that book was to sit down once a week and take a good look at your finances. And I couldn't recommend this more. It's very important to keep your finger on the pulse, to be aware of what you're spending, even just reading through your own bank statements and seeing how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, and where it's going, and also planning on how you can increase your income and thinking of what you can do to help improve your finances in those areas. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please stay tuned for more to come, and if you liked, please share with your friends. Thank you. Bye. Make that money, throw it in, booty bouncing, don't